Chicago, 2011. A cop is murdered. Police and prosecutors swear they have the trigger man. He swears he didn't do it. How far will each side go to prove they're right?
Like it's just one bombshell after another, where you're like, what?
The story of a PlayStation, a brain-eating amoeba, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Off Duty, out now. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
This message comes from Jackson. Taxes aren't something you can only think about once a year. With investments, planning for tax day is year-round. Fortunately, Jackson offers tax-efficient products. Visit jackson.com for more information on how our products can make your tax bill a little bit less painful. Jackson is short for Jackson Financial Incorporated, Jackson National Life Insurance Company, Lansing, Michigan, and Jackson National Life Insurance Company of New York, Purchase, New York.
Hello and welcome back to the Psych Legal Pop Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about popular culture through the lens of an attorney and a therapist. I'm the therapist, Tess Brigham.
And I'm Brooke Brigham. I'm the attorney.
And we are back with our Sister Wives coverage. This is season 19, episode 16. A time to weep, a time to laugh. Oh my. Okay.
Yeah. So who's crying now?
Who's crying? Who's laughing?
Who's laughing? I can tell you Christine is laughing all the way to the altar.
That's for sure. And so is Janelle a little bit, because too bad, so sad. I was like, ooh, Janelle.
Janelle's having fun. I think
Meri's having a good time. Everyone's having a good time except for the people that are around Kody. Essentially. Yeah. If you're still in Kody's orbit, you're crying.
Yeah, Meri was a little, I wouldn't say weepy, but nostalgic or something, melancholy when she was cutting up that quilt.
Oh, God. That irritated me to no
ugly.
end.
It was really bad.
But, okay, well, when we get there.
We'll get there.
I have some thoughts about it. But not about the ugliness of the quilt. It's just about...
Well, just the whole concept.
All of it. All
controversy.
All of it. Okay. So should we let's start from the beginning, which is Robyn and Kody. They're on four-wheelers. And all I could think is, my God, you two people have not learned your lesson from this.
I know. After Dayton almost lost an eye and, worse. Why? What are they doing? And those looked very expensive.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
they were huge and tricked out.
We don't live in a four-wheeler kind of area. No one's four-wheeling here in the Bay Area. But even up in Ukiah, I don't remember people four-wheeling. Like, this is sort of a thing that I don't know a lot about. So I guess it's a very popular sport. But it just seems like the most insanely dangerous thing you can do. I mean, unless you're on flat ground.
Well, the way that they were, when they got up to that kind of rock pit or whatever it was, the dirt and rock pit, and they're all, both of them are just going this way and that way. Of course they crashed. I mean, because they're just crisscrossing each other. They're all over the place. It's like, Jesus, this seems dangerous.
Yeah. Well, this is the property, right? So they're on Coyote Pass.
I assume.
And the lake is all dried up. And so he said, we just go in circles. And I'm like, that is okay. I can see how you would want to stop going in circles. But I don't know. I mean, listen, it looks like it's fun. It just looks like it's incredibly dangerous. And why would a middle-aged person want to do that?
I don't know. Robyn literally, she literally cut Kody off, and she claimed she was trying to avoid him, but she just rode right in front of him. And then I don't know, she hit like a bump and she was thrown from that thing like a rag doll.
Yeah.
I mean, I was almost half looking at this thinking, is this real? Mm-hmm. Like, is this really happening? It seems so strange.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought it was just a very odd thing that they would want to do and record. But
Robyn likes speed.
She's a speed demon.
Yeah.
She is a speed demon. My girl is a little bit of a speed demon. And then it got very uncomfortable when Kody thought that she was hurt and like, oh God, like running to her, my poor Robyn, my sweet shy wife, Robyn. Oh God, you know.
Mhm.
And then, oh, let me take this off. And Baba, are you okay? And she says, well, give me a minute. And he's like, oh God, you know.
Well,
Like,
also,
yeah, just give her a minute.
Also, if someone is hurt, you're not supposed to move them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like if someone has hurt their back or their neck, you're not supposed to move them. The last thing you should be doing is he's like, let me take off your helmet. Let me take this off. She's saying her neck hurts, her head hurts. Like, why don't you just wait? Why don't you call an ambulance?
Yeah.
You know,
probably not cell service out there. I don't know. The whole thing, again, I don't know what to say about any of it. It was just so weird. Like, what?
Yeah.
Huh? Okay.
It was, well, they're so desperate for content. Like, you know, the two of them, they have nothing going on. And, you know, if we have to church shopping, ATV riding, it's like we're really scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah. Well, then we get into this whole thing. I mean, we go over to Christine, to her world for a second.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, Robyn talks about this. She talks about how her kids don't know that she's a speed demon. Her kids don't know this side of her, you know, this dangerous side of Robyn. And she's much more the bad girl part of Robyn. And she's really careful with them, but she doesn't want them to know. I'm like, this is just the most bizarre theory in parenting I've ever heard in my entire life. Right? Like she's acting like these kids are 2. Like, I don't want these kids to know about, you know, this part of me. I don't want my kids to know that like I smoke pot or I drink or I do this or I do. It's like kids are adults. 3 of them are.
Yeah, and trust me, your kids know what you're doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I love it when you know, Kody or she's like, when she finally comes to and she gets she's like, oh, I was having too much fun.
Yes.
She says, I was just trying to have fun. I never get to have fun. Well,
Robyn, you don't work, honey. Your whole life is a Saturday.
Well, she has, you know.
No, she has kids. I'm not dismissing that part of it. But this woman has not been doing much of anything. I mean, how much? I don't know. She has 2 school-age kids. It's work for sure.
Yeah, I don't know what it means to Robyn. I don't know what she's looking for in life. But she sure did like, you know, eating around and until she didn't.
Yeah, that whole thing was just, I just find the 2 of them, when the 2 of them are together, I find them very uncomfortable. I find myself very uncomfortable watching the 2 of them because I think that what we're seeing is this weird layer upon layer upon layer upon layer of, you know, we have to treat each other a certain way. We can't show too much affection, but no, actually we can show affection because people know, but no, we shouldn't because we're on this TV show, but shouldn't we be more authentic? But no, we should. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you can almost see the layers of, and I think it's more Kody than Robyn of, is this a moment where I should be real? It really like should I actually express how I'm really feeling or really thinking, or should I be truthful or no? Should I be something else? No, that's what we're seeing all the time. And that's that discomfort. I feel it. It's like this discomfort of not feeling comfortable within themselves. And I think that's what I feel.
It's very performative.
Yes.
And then they try, then they try a little, they come out a little bit trying to be authentic and then they pull back.
Yeah.
So, and I think, look, these 2 know that America doesn't like them. And I feel like they are really being performative, trying to show everyone, you know, that they're not so bad. And, you know, I mean, in this episode, Kody really lays it all out there. He's really looking for sympathy, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then we go over to Moab. And a lot of this is hard to, it's not hard to watch, but it's just a little bit like we have seen a lot of this already.
We've seen 90% of this. If you watch the wedding special, which was a year ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. They've been married for over a year at this point right now. And so, there were a couple of new clips that we hadn't seen before, but otherwise it's just the wedding special.
Yeah. So we're in Moab, and Christine she's getting married in 2 days. This is the wedding of her dreams. And David does anything that she wants. And then we get into this whole thing about like Christine going, why would I invite Kody, Robyn, and Meri? And it's like, yeah, I'm with you. Why would you?
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. No one are people demanding that you do?
No, was it the producer asked her, which was a dumb question. It's like, obviously they're not going to be there.
Yeah. So anywho, and then we go back to Kody and Robyn. And this is basically where Kody starts to get into how his relationship with Robyn has changed a lot in the last 3 years. And Kody, this is when Kody gets into this whole thing about like, well, when I realized that the one home thing wasn't going to work anymore, I just sort of threw my hands up and said, I don't care. But when I'm a little confused about this, when was this supposed to be? When the one home thing didn't work, I just threw my hands up. But wasn't that when Christine left?
No, it was before that. Remember when there was when he did his presentation and showed them all the rendering of this
when they were going to move to Flagstaff? Yeah.
I think they were already in Flagstaff. Oh. Yeah.
Okay.
They were already in Flagstaff. And I think it was the first Christmas in Flagstaff. And like Maddie and Caleb and Tony and McCulty came, and he gathered everybody up, and everybody was just like, huh, what? And, he didn't get the reaction that he wanted. And so, yeah, that was right after they moved there.
Oh, okay. So that would be 2018?
Oh, God.
2017?
It was a couple years before COVID. So,
okay.
Yeah, maybe like.
Okay. 20. So that means that you've sort of thrown your hands up and said, I don't care for 6 years now, if we're in 2023 in the show.
Yeah. And, and
okay.
And he's surprised that everyone's left him.
Because aren't you then admitting that you sort of threw your hands up and said, I don't care anymore before anybody else did?
Right.
Right.
Even though, yeah. And then during COVID and all that, he's trying to say, well, I'm just trying to keep the family together, keep the family safe. Which is it, Kody? Like, if you had thrown your hands up and you didn't care, you wouldn't have cared about, going to see Janelle and worried about what Gabe and Garrison were doing or whatever.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
Yeah. I just thought that was very odd. But Robyn then gets into this whole thing about how everyone's changed, except for her, that Meri and Christine and Janelle, that they were changing. And it's like, no, they were evolving.
Mm-hmm.
There is a difference. They are still the same people. It's not like they're changing, changing who they are as people and what they believe in and all of that stuff. They were evolving. Their kids were grown. Mm-hmm. They were evolving with the marriage, with the relationship.
Yeah, well, Robyn doesn't understand that life is not static. She's trying to keep her children young.
Yeah, actually, it's a good way of saying it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why she infantilizes all of her children. She's trying to keep them all young, and she's afraid to let them go.
Mm-hmm.
And when Janelle and Christine and Meri were doing the natural thing of going through letting their kids go, and then I also think she's alluding to, these holidays where Christine and Janelle would travel to go see the children who lived other places instead of coming to Robyn's house to be with her and her kids. Because to her, that's like the center of the universe. And they should all be focused on the kids that are left. There's supposed to focus on, just because these kids live somewhere else, they're still their kids.
Yeah, Robyn did something that people do, which is they create scenarios in their mind of how, she decided to, enter into this family, And she created a scenario in her mind of how it was going to be, or how it should be, or how she wants it to be, of how it's going to be for the rest of time.
Mm-hmm.
And when it didn't turn out that way, for various reasons, those people, they get mad. They blame the other person as if this person is hurting them or disappointing them. And it's like, no, you cannot, we can't control other people. You cannot create a whole scenario in your mind or hold people to do the things that you want them to do. Again, also probably in your head. I think that if Robyn ever turned to Meri, Janelle, Christine and said, hey, we're all going to be together, right? And once your kids are grown, you're still going to want to do holidays here with my kids, right? I mean, I don't think she ever vocalized any of those things. Mm-hmm. So now she's disappointed and upset with people for things that they didn't even know that they were doing.
And nobody wanted that. She and Kody, before I say that, I want to say at least one time every episode, she says, this is not the way it was supposed to be. Mm-hmm. To your point.
Yes.
She vocalizes this constantly. But she and Kody were the ones who were pushing this one house thing because they wanted it to be that way forever. They wanted them all to live together, no matter how old you are, or how many children you have, you're supposed to just live on Coyote Pass so that everyone can be together and fulfill their fantasies.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think anyone signed up for that. I don't think Janelle and Christine ever, agreed to that or wanted that. This is something that just came. It was born out of, first Kody and Robyn's idea to move to Flagstaff. And then she was in on this one house thing. It was not a surprise to her. And then presenting this one house. I mean, they've just been trying to be so Machiavellian, with their manipulating people. And they are. They are very manipulative, both of them. And they work together to do it. And nobody is falling for it.
Yeah.
And now they're alone. And they're left alone with their ATVs. Cruising around this
Coyote Pass
that is has nothing on it and is just, worthless, really, quite frankly.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they're just, they need such a reality check, but I don't know.
Yeah. Well, but ever since we had that interview with Corey and Melanie from Notes to Self 444, it just, so much of it makes so much more sense now of just how sort of the mentality of the culture and the group and just kind of understanding a bit more of what Robyn's mindset was when she joined the family. And that in that world, that is the culture, that you do stay.
Yeah.
That is how it is. And so on some level, I can see how she would think that maybe that's what she was entering into, but it's still naive. It's still a naive thing to believe that people aren't going to change at all. But, before we started, it was so funny because the next section that we have is this whole Parowan section with Meri.
Oh.
And I was going to, when we were recording, I was going to say to you, Brooke, I have a list of things that I don't like about you that you need to correct. What was the list? What was it called? It was, oh God, what was the thing that Kody said that he gave her a list? How did she phrase that? The list that Kody gave Meri.
He did. Yeah, he said that it was a list of things.
Oh my God, I wrote it down.
Yeah, because he had a specific name for it.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my God, why can't I find it? Because I remember writing this down and laughing to myself so hard.
Well, we'll get to it. We'll just go in order, and I'm sure.
Okay. Well, here we are. We're in Parowan.
Okay.
We're in Parowan, and Meri has a project, and I just wrote down, God, that Jen is a good friend. She really is a good friend.
Well, doesn't she live there? Doesn't she manage the inn, or does she?
I think she manages the inn, but the producers were like, "What are we filming?" Okay,
Well, they need Jen, Because Meri, who's Meri going to talk to about this quilt? I mean, she has to have
but that's
somebody
true.
there. Yeah.
It's just like, I mean, she's just such a good friend. That's
Yeah.
all I have to say.
She is a very good friend.
But this irritated me to no end. So Kody comes to you and says, I want these things back. So it's on you. I would have just given him the quilt and been like, here you go.
Well,
Bye.
also, she made the quilt for him. So why does she have it?
Yeah, that's a good question too.
You know, and why does she need to cut it up? I mean, like, she should have just given him the quilt.
Yeah. There you go.
It? Here, does she want her nightgown, the piece of her nightgown? Her 60-year-old nightgown. And she's going to keep that. She divided everything up. She's like, that's mine. That's my nightgown.
Yes.
Time out for Love Bear.
Yeah.
We have to go through some of these.
I guess you wrote them down. I didn't look at the t-shirt so much, but the whole time I'm sitting there going, how many hours did this take? How detailed all of this was. But see, I think I have to say, when I was watching this, now that I'm thinking about it, this kind of gives Kody I have to put this in the Kody camp for this, because I think this is a little bit of what he was alluding to, which is Meri gave me this gift, but now she has it.
Mm.
And why does she have it? Well, she's controlling. She controls things. She always wants to control everything. Okay. And I do think that it's very interesting that my instinct was, okay, here's the quilt. Goodbye. I'm not going to do any more work for you. But she automatically, it's not even that she wants to do it for Kody. She wants to control it. You know what I mean? Like, she just couldn't hand the thing over to Kody without having control over it. And I think it's giving us a little bit of a clue to why maybe this all stuck around so long, was this, like, her need to control things.
Yeah, he said that Meri took over everything he had on a certain level. Meri got all the connections to his past, through these t-shirts and whatever. And and then he said this a couple times, that she was basically mean to him for 20 years. And then that's when he came up with some list of, I know what it was. He said to Meri, you've been mean to me for 20 years. So therefore, I'm going to be mean to you for the same amount of time.
Yes. When they moved to Vegas.
Yeah. And then Meri's like, oh, well, joke's on him. I only stayed for 13 more years.
I remember thinking, oh, Meri, I wouldn't brag about that.
Right.
But can you imagine your husband coming to you and saying, you've been mean to me for 20 years, so now I'm going to punish you for the next 20
years. Mean to you for 20 years.
And we've just started this TV show where we're all supposed to pretend like we're in this loving family.
Yeah.
So this tells us something too, because she's talking about not even in the cul-de-sac. We're talking about the rental house. So we're talking like season 2, season 3.
Mm-hmm.
This has been a big fat lie.
Mm-hmm.
And then to say, okay, now I'm going to torture you for 20 years. And then to just sort of, to just
wait for it to stop. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. But the other thing too is, Meri did say that Kody came up with the idea of the quilt. So that's the other part of it too, is I think there's these people, like their interactions of things are so bizarre. It's like, she took over everything, but he wanted me to make the quilt. Do you know what I mean? Like she probably said, what would you like me to do? Do you want to do something with this? Or he came up with this idea and now he's mad that he intermingled their childhood t-shirts together. And
she said it was their 10th anniversary and it was her gift to him.
Oh,
so
that's right.
I don't know whose idea it was, but it was pretty heavy on the Kody stuff. Like there was a lot of wrestling stuff. It was like BYU wrestling camp, football jerseys. There was a singlet on there, a BYU jersey. They had some t-shirts from their honeymoon and that weird old-fashioned, where they look like old-fashioned kids. That
was weird.
And then some really random things. Well, there's Meri's nightshirt. And then there was a Utah Shakespeare Festival shirt.
Oh.
A Toby Keith concert church. And they went on The Price is Right.
Yes.
Who has a clip of that?
That would be great to get to see that.
Yeah.
I wonder if that exists
the Price
somewhere.
is Right t-shirt. I wonder if they even got called up.
Yeah.
Or if they were just in the audience.
I think they were just in the audience.
And they got a free t-shirt for coming.
And she put it on this, and then they kept it and then put it on a quilt.
Yeah. It was very strange quilt.
Yeah.
Very strange.
Yeah. Anyway, but Meri said she put up with it because she was trying. She was trying to make it work. She was trying to, and I feel for her because you've just fled Utah, whereas where you grew up, you're now in Vegas, you're filming the show, you're in these rental homes.
And she's alone with
resources are finite. And you're trying to figure it out. But then I don't know, Meri does admit to Jen in this conversation that I was mean. I was mean to him. And I don't know. I wish they would give us some examples.
Yeah. I know.
Really,
it's all so vague. It's kind of like, it's hard to tell who. Yeah. I mean, what is Kody's definition of mean?
Yeah.
Like, what are Meri's crimes? Like, what did she do?
And I don't know. I think maybe it's possible that Meri, right? I think Meri probably is a bit rough around, like, I think younger, like a little bit rough around the edges. I'm sure she was maybe, she's, she likes control. She likes to do things the way she does them. So I think she probably was a little bossy and control. You know what I mean? All of these things with him, what he felt. But it's like, is that really mean? Or was it just the two of you just need to figure out how to better communicate with each other? Because don't forget, they couldn't even legally drink when they got married. And that's the part that kind of bugs me about this is he keeps going to her. He keeps sort of pointing to her saying she was mean. It was like, you guys were kids. Like, you don't give her any sense of like some wide berth of like that she was just trying to figure this stuff out.
Well, yeah. And she was dealing with infertility. She said she'd be get pregnant on her honeymoon. She was going through that for all those. And I think I think she was always jealous. I think she was jealous of Janelle.
Yeah.
I think she didn't really want to be, she didn't really have it in her to be a plural wife or whatever that took. And so, but here she is and she's mad about that. I mean, she was just mad about a lot of stuff. And then you throw in like poverty and, I just think she clearly felt like she had this special bond with Kody, and anyone who came along and, took anything away from that at all was a threat to her. So,
well,
I don't know.
Yeah. And also if I can imagine if you thought you were going to have all these kids and you didn't or couldn't, that then you're going to really focus on the partner, right? Then, you have a lot more bandwidth that, okay, what makes me special? If I'm not and I'm not saying this is what makes women special. I'm just saying that like the religion and this atmosphere, it's all about women reproducing and having children. So if that's what makes you special and important, if you don't have that, then what do you have? Okay, you have the partner, you have your partner. And that's one thing that we really learned from Melanie and Corey is that because you weren't allowed much of a life outside of this community, because, the women weren't, working or doing things or pursuing academics or pursuing hobbies or anything outside of just survival of this, then your importance and sense of self comes from where you are in the family. And your place in the family and your level of importance in the family. So, right, you're not having, so I'm Meri and I'm the first wife and I'm the legal wife. And maybe that's what she had to make her feel special and important. And so when that got threatened and all of that, but it was just kind of like, she said she was mean, but was Kody mean? How did he treat her? I get the sense that he just kind of like shut down or just left or went to another wife or, you know.
I think he did shut down. I mean, look, we've seen Kody. He's not good at relationships. And so, he just went on to the next distraction or whatever else was happening. And they didn't really, I don't know. I wasn't there, but I don't know how much they really worked on this stuff. But anyway, it's just, I don't know, this Kody and Meri stuff just kind of keeps getting darker and darker.
It does, but it's just, I was just looking at my notes from what I wrote down about Kody. It's like, because Kody then she says, she does own a little bit, right? I was mean. I can't force him to want something. Okay. And then Kody gets into this whole thing of like, I wanted to try to make it work. And, but the part that's irritating about this is at least Meri is willing to own some stuff here. She's willing to say, okay, I was mean. But this whole time he's trying to convince us that what he did was okay. Like, see, she was mean, so it's okay that I ignored her for 20 years.
Right.
She was mean, so it was okay for me to go to her after 20 years and tell her she was mean. He not one moment, I think, has ever thought that what was my part in the fact that Meri was mean? If I keep saying that Meri's mean, Meri's right, of her, he has no ownership of her unhappiness, of her disappointment.
Yeah. Also, coincidentally, he decides to turn this mean stuff around right when Robyn comes around. Maybe she was in his ear saying, because he obviously confided in her. I'm sure from the beginning, all this kind of stuff. And, Robyn, she never had any special feelings for Meri or allegiance to Meri. She was just faking that. She may have told Kody, well, you need to stand up for yourself. It's time for you to stand up for yourself now. And he's like, yeah, and then he's got this new wife and he's feeling all pumped up and all good. And then all of a sudden he says, okay, well, I'm going to be mean to you for 20 years and then maybe we can start working in our relationship. Literally.
This is what I would love. And he's like, I thought about divorcing her several times, but I don't believe in divorce. You believe, you don't believe in divorce, but you believe in being a raging asshole to somebody. Like, really? Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. And torturing
very, very
someone.
interesting. Yeah.
When you know that you're torturing her by doing this, you're making her unhappy. It's almost like he's deriving pleasure out of it.
Psych Legal Pop will be back after these messages.
This message comes from Jackson. Taxes aren't something you can only think about once a year. With investments, planning for tax day is year-round. Fortunately, Jackson offers tax-efficient products. Visit jackson.com for more information on how our products can make your tax bill a little bit less painful. Jackson is short for Jackson Financial Incorporated, Jackson National Life Insurance Company, Lansing, Michigan, and Jackson National Life Insurance Company of New York, Purchase, New York.
Chicago, 2011. A cop is murdered. Police and prosecutors swear they have the trigger man. He swears he didn't do it. How far will each side go to prove they're right?
Like it's just one bombshell after another, where you're like, what?
The story of a PlayStation, a brain-eating amoeba, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Off Duty, out now. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah, and I think they'll never admit, but I think both of them did. And I think that Robyn probably sold Meri to Kody in a very, not in a like, how do I describe it? In a way in which it was like, well, Meri has no one. You need to stay with her. Almost like kind of putting Meri into this kind of sad sack, losery place.
She's not really a real wife. She's just this person we feel sorry for.
Yes, exactly.
She has nowhere else to go and nobody else. And
so let's invite her to Thanksgiving. And, and I think that, so the more she said those things, the more I think that influenced him in terms of not only not leaving her, but also seeing her as someone less than him, less than Robyn, because I don't think Robyn ever went to him and said, Meri's such an awesome, amazing person. I don't understand. Like, she said this, she does this, she does this. Like, why can't the two of you talk about this or talk about that or whatever it is? I really do think it was just all guilt and obligation and then that, of course, made him dig in even more and hate her and dislike her even more, or feel more and more resentful towards her, and resentment that she had no part in. She had zero part in, It's just the two of them.
Yeah.
Anyway, but this was a great line at the end of all this. Kody's like, our entire marriage was hard, but I don't want to talk about bad about Meri now. It's like after like an hour of talking about Meri. Yeah.
It's like, I
don't want to say anything negative now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Meri does finally say, she finally kind of wore these up here. Was like, okay. She said, I finally realized that how I feel about myself is a non-negotiable. So whatever you say or feel about me is irrelevant. I'm like, good for you, Meri, which is what, and honestly, a good friend would have been saying this to Meri for the last 13 years, which is, I think, what Jen and all these other women have been saying. And all the while, Robyn's been saying something different.
Yeah. She's saying the opposite.
Yeah. Which only made it more confusing.
Yeah. So. Robyn just wanted to make sure Meri was kept in her place, which was, below her.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, well, back to Moab.
Yeah, we're at Moab. Well, David's having a bachelor party. So during that time, the girls are going to have mimosas. We did see a little bit of this in the wedding special, but
mimosas and facials.
Yes, mimosas and facials. But this was very interesting because we got to see an interview that we hadn't seen before with, was it Mykelti? It was Mykelti, Aspen, Isabel, and Truly. So it was the four daughters that were there. And just talking about David, and we hear from Truly that, well, first she tells us, I'm in my room most of the time because I'm an angsty teenager. But she really, it was easy to accept David because he already was a parent. And she's never seen her mother so happy. So.
Wow.
And Truly's 15, 16 now? 15?
Yeah, I mean, when this was filmed, she was probably 14-ish.
Yeah, because she was
13, 14.
Yeah. So, she had never seen her mother happy in the last umpteen years.
Wow.
So that's pretty significant. And for a 13, Truly is a very, intuitive, sophisticated kid. You can tell that about her. But that she, the fact that she at 13, 14 could say, I've never seen my mom so happy, and to understand why and who David is versus her father, I was like, pretty astute.
Yes.
Anywho. And then we learned from Christine.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and then we learned from Christine that Truly and David have a very special bond because David gives Truly compliments all the time and she just glows. And I think that what my guess would be is I don't think it's compliments. I think that he is, and we saw this when that famous video of David helping Truly off the rocks in Moab. I think what David does is like a really smart parenting thing, which is I think he sees when Truly's doing something well, or sees her when she's excelling or feeling good, and he recognizes that and compliments that and focuses on those things. And my guess is that Kody does the thing that unfortunately a lot of people do, which is you just kind of focus on the things that you don't like. Like, stop doing this. I don't like that. Those kinds of things. I think that's a big difference between the two of them. I think it's a half glass empty, half glass full kind of way or being.
Well, their temperaments, yes. Kody and David's temperaments could not be more different. I mean, yeah, Kody's frantic and he just mouths off and he spouts off and he doesn't think before he talks. And David is very calm and deliberate. And David has actually raised children like hands-on.
That is a big difference. Yeah.
By himself for many years, and grandchildren. And look, all of his children and grandchildren want to be around him. I think they all, they all live, I think, in that vicinity or whatever. So yeah, very different, like night and day.
Yeah. All right. What were you going to say that I interrupted you earlier?
Oh, I think you already said it about
Okay.
compliments.
Yes. All right. So let's go back to Flagstaff. Oh, God.
Jeez, these two. They're so dramatic. That's when this talk first started, again, it just seems so performative. And I kept thinking to myself, is this real? Is this scripted? Robyn there with her, Northern Arizona University mom sweatshirt, and just looking all sad, and Kody just looking all sad. What is, anyway, Kody says something like he and Robyn have this truth together, that, but he can't find it with any of the other wives anymore. And Robyn says, not even Janelle?
Yes.
What? Janelle's been gone a long time. I mean, okay, the timeline of this show is always very murky. Mm-hmm. We don't know when this was filmed in relationship to anything else.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, it was like a year ago when Janelle first told Kody at Salsa Brava that she was pretty much done.
Well, in a year and a half since the fuck you, fight.
Yes. Fuck you.
But that was not even Janelle. It's like, what
I know.
Where are we? Where are we, Robyn? Come on. Like, I felt like any moment she'd be like, not even Christine? No, we don't think we can get Christine to come back?
Yeah. Wait, Meri? She hasn't been gone that long. Yeah, but then when she says, not even Janelle, Kody says, no, she's just not that intimate emotionally.
And then basically he says, stop trying to make Janelle happen. Stop pushing Janelle on me.
Yes.
Stop. I don't want to be with Janelle. But this whole thing, we have a truth. When we look into each other's eyes, we have a truth. This is the stuff that makes me really uncomfortable because, like, ugh. I wouldn't even say that I would never say that to my husband. I mean, that's so like, oh, really? Like, but I think that's, again, Kody and his need or his self-importance or, whatever that is that for him to really love someone, it's so important. It's so like when we look into each other's eyes, there is truth there.
It's very dramatic.
It's dramatic, but it's also like, I'm so unique and special. And, it's like, oh God, shut up.
Yeah, it's very it's like Disney princess.
Yes.
Talk.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
It's like, who talks like this? Like, oh, you're my true love. And I mean, that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
And it seems like he's trying to convince her of this. We all know she already thinks it, but she will just never stop playing this role of the good plural wife who everybody left.
But I wonder, is this for TV or is this because she really does fear this? I mean, again, if you're raised in this religion and this belief that you need to live your life a certain way, I do think that would be a lot for Robyn, right? I mean, that's really what they're talking about, is that it's almost like the two of them entered into this relationship together. This is how we're going to live our lives. And then Kody's saying, I don't want to do that anymore. And Robyn's kind of like, okay, so what do I do now? I mean, I understand this whole identity thing that she's talking about. I think when she talks about losing her identity, I think what it is, it's really just, she's losing her religion. Like, Kody's really demanding of her, if you want to be with me, we're not going to live this way.
Right.
And we've got to just take our chances in the afterlife that things will work out,
Yeah. And it's kind of interesting that, and then this parallel storyline of trying to find a new church. And when they went to see that one church where they're talking with the pastors, Robyn kind of made it all about herself, about how, well, she kept saying, our church, we don't have a church, our church. You can tell that she really, and then she says her husband does not want to, live through marriage anymore. So this is her going through this, and she's trying to, drag her kids into it and drag Kody into it, and I don't know.
But I could imagine if you're raised in this religion, raised in this church, that it must feel very difficult because on the one hand, you're supposed to live plural marriage, but at the same time, you're supposed to listen to your husband, and your husband's the protector and the guider and the ruler and the leader of the family. So now your husband is telling you, who you're supposed to listen to, something that's diametrically opposed to what you grew up believing. I think that's the piece of it that's the identity crisis that she's going through. Stop talking about these other women. It's got nothing to do with them. It's got nothing to do with that. It's got to do with this, like you being okay with making a choice that goes against everything that you were raised with.
Yeah.
And if she would just say that, I could get on board with that.
Yeah.
But it's just like, then, this whole thing where he says, he goes in this whole thing of stop pushing Janelle on me. The love and trust is gone with Janelle. And then we go, Robyn then asks, well, is Janelle at all interested? No.
We just covered this like a minute ago.
Do you think you can go to counseling? No. He can't even get Janelle to eat a meal with him. He can barely get her to eat a meal with him. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
I know.
No, she's not going to go to counseling. She barely wanted to go to counseling when you were all together. She's not going to, but God. Anyway, it's just, Kody just keeps kind of saying, no, no, no. And then we get into this whole thing about how she's mad because he's mad because he feels like Robyn did this with Meri too. It was that pushing these women on me, pushing them on me. So anyway.
Yeah. And then he said he apologized to her for times that he told her he was going to leave. That was just sort of a random thing
because again, like what you were saying earlier, I think that what Kody does is, well, that's it. I'm going to leave. Forget you. I'm out. And I would see this a lot with couples that I would work with. And I would have to tell them, when you guys are in a fight, you cannot keep threatening divorce unless you're really, you got to stop. And that's what a lot of couples will do is they will start to fight or they will get mad or one of the two of them. And they're like, well, then maybe we should just get a divorce. Like they just keep, throwing out the worst, you didn't do the dishes, so therefore let's get a divorce. And I think that that's, with everything that's been going on, I wouldn't be surprised to hear that Kody probably said, well, that's fine. I'm just going to go off by myself now. I'm just going to leave. Forget it. No one cares about me. No one loves me. I'm going to wander off. And I think that that's what she's alluding to.
Right. Yeah, I think he has these tantrums because then the next thing he says is that he has an itch to move, to get away, to remodel something, move to Europe. I mean, he's just all over the place. Like he can't sit and deal with his feelings and his problems. Like he runs away. He makes threats.
And those feelings are okay. That's a very normal, natural feeling to have, to want to just like, oh God, I just want to pack it away and run. When people get overwhelmed, especially when you're having these existential crises, which they're all going through. All of this is very normal. It's a normal and natural place to be, to have these kinds of existential crises, to think about these things, to go to these places. But the difference between this is the emotional intelligence piece of knowing whether or not you vocalize it or not. And how do you vocalize it?
Right.
So.
Yeah. And Robyn, caps off this conversation with, I'm always going to, because he says to her, will you accept me as a monogamist? And, she's frowning and saying, I'm having such a hard time. And she says, I'm always going to stick with you. I'm just having an identity crisis. This is not what she wanted for her life.
Okay.
So that kind of,
got it.
Yeah, sums it up.
All right.
Anyway, let's go back to Moab.
Yes.
and then we'll finish up with this Robyn. Then we'll come back for the grand finale of the Robyn Kody thing. But anyway, so they're doing this wedding rehearsal. And, David is doing his goofy dad stuff. He trips over the, the stage. Annie is very emotional. Christine is very emotional. I mean, very emotional. And then in some foreshadowing, they talk about the river. The river, this river that goes behind the venue, and it's a fast-moving river, and it's their biggest concern about the wedding. Dun dun dun.
Oh yes. All right.
Okay, now back to Kody and Robyn. God, I have a whole nother.
Yeah. No, there is a whole thing
of notes on this
because this is where he starts to say she feels powerless. Robyn feels powerless. Kody asks, will you accept me as monogamist? Those marriages are done. I miss nothing from those marriages. Beat, except the children.
And that is all.
Okay. So this is where Robyn gets into something actually that I was kind of surprised. I was like, okay, good. She's saying something, which is, you've been rewriting the past. And I don't know why Robyn feels this great need to talk about this, but, you've been rewriting the past. And I think obviously she's been watching the show and she's seen that he's saying, I never loved them. I never loved them. And, Kody does admit that, what did he say? He's like, I have been flip-flopping.
Yeah. He admits he loved his wives when he met Robyn, but he's a flip-flopping fool.
Yes. But he had never really experienced deep divine love until I met Robyn.
Yeah. And we all know that. We've known that.
Yeah. And again,
he said that when Robyn came into the family, he had 2 wives who had already considered leaving him. We know one was Janelle. She did leave him for a while.
And who was the other one?
Yeah.
Christine?
Was it Meri or Christine?
I think it was Christine. Because I think right. I think, I think it was Christine. That would be my guess. Much more than Meri.
Yeah.
Much more than Meri.
Yeah, no, we've seen it takes Meri. It takes more than that to get Meri to leave. It took another 20 years. No, 13 years. I don't know.
Just thinking about it, it's not enough. All right. Yeah. But this was the best.
Yeah. Get ready.
Share that.
Well, Kody out of nowhere just starts talking about this and he says, I had a lover in college, a little tryst. He was a naughty boy. He lost his virginity. It was devastating and heartbreaking. And when purity is everything, it's devastating. And he said that nobody knew about this except Meri and Robyn because he wasn't intimate enough with Christine or Janelle to tell them it wasn't safe. Well, that's a lot to take in.
It is a lot to take in. Wow, Kody.
Yeah. Why did he feel compelled to
share this
now?
I don't know, to show us that he knows more about relationships and love than maybe we think he does. I don't know.
But he was focusing on the shame of it. He said it was devastating and heartbreaking. Because if you're born, even in the mainstream LDS church, virginity is a big thing.
Well, and also just the fact that, like, even taking that outside of, right, this is your first love, right? And if it ends poorly, or if it, they don't love you the same way, it is devastating. It does imprint on you and makes you, and maybe is he telling us this because he's trying to get us to see like a little bit of his own stuff, like his own insecurities around relationships, that I love this person. I gave them my virginity. Maybe he thought he was going to be with this person. Maybe he was like, okay, yeah, I'll have sex with you because we're going to be together anyway. Right. So maybe he felt duped in some way by this other person. I have no idea. Maybe this person was not part of that church and just playing fast and loose with his virginity. Some woman.
He was a naughty boy.
Yeah, he was a naughty boy. Or, was this the reason why you, I don't know, jumped on this plural marriage thing and married Meri? But yeah, it's interesting. I don't know, this whole thing, again, back to the whole thing. Well, I told Robyn within a month because I felt safe. And I'm like, again, it's very different telling somebody this kind of big, shameful secret when you're 21, 22, 23, and it happened a couple of years earlier, and that's where you are in life, versus being 40 some odd years old.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was a different person in a different place when he told Robyn. Like he said, he always attributes everything to her being like, she made me feel safe. It's like, you know, Kody, yeah, maybe she created an atmosphere, or maybe you had told her other things and her reaction wasn't what you thought. So she felt like, okay, she could take this, but you felt more secure within yourself. Mm-hmm. You felt more confident within yourself. It's not all Robyn. I think that's the part that makes me crazy is he attributes so much to her. And it's like, some of it's you too. Like just you being you.
Yeah. Again, being very dramatic about something that, at this point in your life, why do you still, this isn't something fresh. Yeah. Like why are you feeling like this? Mm-hmm. Why are you feeling like you have to bring it up on television?
Yeah. Just
very odd. Like what was the point of this?
But this next thing is very interesting because, you know, Robyn, of course, goes back to like, oh, it's so weird that you're not saying that you didn't love them. And, you know, and then Robyn starts talking about all these other plural families. Like, you know, don't you know, there's all these plural families out there that have gone through these hard times and they've healed and they've gotten through it and they're okay. And Kody calls her on this. This I felt like is a very authentic moment, which is like, no, that's not true.
That doesn't exist.
That doesn't exist. I don't know any of those people. You know, we don't know any of those people.
Right.
You know, that's not real. And that every single plural family these were his words, messed up in their own way. And and I think that's really what's happening and I think this is this identity connection, because my guess would be is that Robyn's so connected to her faith, and Kody basically is absolutely like breaking down every part of her faith and saying, no, 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 no. But again, the two of them, they always blame everybody outside of them themselves. Like it's all Christine's fault because she was mean, you know, like, or it's Janelle's fault because she won't, you know, love Kody anymore. I don't know.
Yeah. And then Kody says something very vulnerable. He says, 3 women have decided that I'm not worth it. I don't want Robyn to see me as worthless.
I don't want her to see me this way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he told her, we need a new dream. Let's go home. It's like, yeah.
Wow. What a journey.
Yeah. Right there on the top of the hill. I thought they were going to see the sunset.
Yeah.
This was part of your romantic night, is like tooling around in the ATVs and you know, or 4-wheeling or whatever you call it. And then being on the top of the hill and being romantic.
Yeah. Well, I guess the mood got brought down by that whole conversation. They weren't really feeling very romantic anymore, I guess.
I guess not. He was like, you got a concussion. We should probably go.
We should probably check
it out.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go home. But yeah, that was a lot.
It was very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually saw a little bit of vulnerability there with
yes,
old Kody.
And then we round everything up at Moab. Because dun, 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 rushing river. Where's Avalon?
Avalon is missing.
Avalon, rushing river, Avalon.
McKelty's jumping fences.
Like, everyone's running around.
Yeah. And in the end, she was where she was supposed to be.
With her grandmother.
With her grandmother who was watching her and the other kids. Because Christine's like, oh, she was with Maria because Maria's here to watch it. It's like, well, if she's there to watch the kids, why didn't you check with her first? Anyway, I don't know what happened, but that's the most horrible feeling in the world. Like when that happens, I can't really remember a time that I ever lost Layla, but I was always, paranoid about it.
No, I will say I had a moment once where I was at the dog park with Max. I can't remember how old he was, maybe like 7 or 8. So sort of at this age where, they could be kidnapped, or they could disappear. And I think I was dealing with one of the dogs. And then all of a sudden I turned around and he was gone. And I start looking around and looking around and looking around. And it doesn't take long for you to go to a deep state of panic.
It takes about 5 seconds.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden when I couldn't find him, like within those first 5 seconds, all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, he's gone. Where is he? Oh my God.
Yeah,
oh
he's
my
in the
God.
water.
This is
drowned.
it. It's happening. Yeah. It's finally here. It's, it's this horrible thing that every parent fears. And then all of a sudden I turn and he's sitting on a bench. Like, honestly,
watching me
panic. Watching, and I come over to him and I was like, where? And he's like, yeah, I'm right here. Like, what is your problem? But it was the scariest minute of my life. And I do get that because I can understand with the wedding and all the chaos of things. She has 3 little kids too.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's a lot to keep track. And the rushing river, river.
It is a rushing river.
And so I can understand her forgetting, like, oh, wait, yeah, I had her stay with Maria. That's right. But yeah, that panic is it's just, I mean, I started bawling. I was just like, it was so emotionally draining. Again, I don't know who was going to kidnap him at a dog park, but I don't know what I was thinking.
But
you never know. But that's the thing. These things happen really fast. I mean, we were near the street. Like someone could have taken, I don't know. God knows. Who knows? Anyway.
Yeah, it's normal to think that way.
You know what? Let's all get on that river.
Yeah.
And start drinking.
Yeah. And I'm looking at that boat and I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of people on that boat that's not that big. And, because you basically can only just kind of sit in your seat unless you're going up and down the aisles or whatever. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's a little small for me, but they were having fun.
Yeah. I mean, again, we saw a lot of the clips that we saw before of Christine chugging a beer or chugging something. I mean, boy, things have changed. Yes.
For the better.
Yes. So, this is where Janelle's like, no one's thinking about Kody and Robyn. Too bad. So sad. And Christine was like, she never realized how frantic of a person, just how hard it's been or how much maybe she needed someone who was calm like David.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, we're happy for Christine.
Yes. I'm still a big fan of David. I like David.
Oh, yeah. I like David too. Christine, I think, has calmed down, in present day. But
I know a lot of people have found her to be a lot and very annoying and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But it's like, Jesus Christ,
she's
people.
just so happy.
She finally gets
that.
This woman, the basement wife, who, whose husband was kissing someone else on the day she gave birth to Truly, like being called the bad sister wife, like getting so much grief for so long.
I never loved you. I was never attracted to you.
You're awful.
Disgusted by you eating nachos. I mean, no, she deserves this.
Yeah. So even if you think that even if you're rolling your eyes a little bit, there's a little bit of like, let her have it. You can roll your eyes privately, but just let her have this. She needs this, for Christ's sake. She really does. She needed this.
She has toned down her PDA a bit. She doesn't tongue kiss him anymore, like in the beginning. She's learned to, keep her mouth closed. But anyway, next time on Sister Wives, Meri is remodeling.
Oh, that's right.
The whole inn. I don't know.
This whole, remodel of Meri and her life and everything has to be framed in terms of this divorce.
Yeah.
You get 1 year of this, Meri, and then we're done.
Robyn almost gets hit by a tree that Kody's cutting down. He always cuts down these random trees for no reason, it seems. And he admits that he needs a lot of attention.
No shit.
Yeah.
No shit.
And of course, Christine is getting married.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you're still here, thank you so much for tuning in because the show is 44 minutes long and this show is 62 now. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoy us and want to hear more from us, go check out our Patreon, patreon.com/PsychLegalPop podcast. We have a weekly bonus, and we do, for our $8 tier, we do a true crime and ask us anything. So go check us out there. You can also leave us a 5-star rating and review. We've gotten some really nice reviews lately. And we really, really appreciate those for everyone who has done that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and it helps the podcast, not just our ego.
It's a win-win.
Yeah, it helps, the more reviews and feedback you get, like when people search for, like they search Sister Wives, and it makes our podcast, more likely to come up in searches and that type of thing.
What else? Follow us. Subscribe. Yes, subscribe. Yeah. We are here on Tuesdays doing Mondays. Mondays doing Sister Wives. And then Thursdays we cover various documentaries. And we have a very long catalog of documentaries if you're relatively new here. So go check them out. Mm-hmm. And then we are on TikTok and Instagram at PsychLegalPop. So go follow us there. And I think that's it.
Yeah, thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
This message comes from Jackson. Taxes aren't something you can only think about once a year. With investments, planning for tax day is year-round. Fortunately, Jackson offers tax-efficient products. Visit jackson.com for more information on how our products can make your tax bill a little bit less painful. Jackson is short for Jackson Financial Incorporated, Jackson National Life Insurance Company, Lansing, Michigan, and Jackson National Life Insurance Company of New York, Purchase, New York.